The UFC has always been at the forefront of giving fans what they want to see. However, some matches are deeply desired by the fans, but at the moment, they are not so possible. That's no reason not to play matchmaker today and let our imaginations run wild to make some fights that we think would be historic, would bring entertainment for the fans, and a lot of money for the UFC. Grab some snacks, punch the subscribe button, and sit back. Khamzat Chimaev's hype train has been traveling at full speed for 3 years, and so far, no one has managed to redirect it into the chasm. With his 7 appearances, he picked up bonuses and wins like crazy, and his fan base is growing day by day. Many people would like to see him in a title fight, and considering he's at middleweight now, he needs another quality match against an adequate fighter. And you can look for that in a man who was a recent champion and never ran away from a fiery fight. We are talking about the guy who was under the biggest MMA spotlight for the entire year 2023, and that is Sean Strickland. Imagine how loud the press conference would be and how supreme the fight would be. Both are fans of bloody fist fights and fighters who could fill the arena with their talk and fighting performances. The winner would definitely get a chance for the title, and the UFC would be in the profit, whatever the outcome, which would make this scenario even more interesting in the future. The current champion is Dricus du Plessis, and Israel Adesanya is returning to the game, so any combination of these 4 fighters would surely be a top match. Sean Strickland has already managed to stop the Russian hype trains before, and it would be great to see him defend against Khamzat's relentless takedowns, who would probably aim for a quick finish. If you put Nate Diaz in a circus event, people would buy tickets to watch him, win or lose. That's all it always is with the gangster from Stockton. He built his career with his unique personality and ability to cause problems for even the best fighters, as long as the match lasts. Besides, he never ran away from a fight, and fans always respect that. On the other hand, we have the retired UFC superstar Jorge Masvidal, who revived his interesting career after 15 years of competition. The two already had a match for the BMF title when Jorge gave Diaz a one-sided beating, but Diaz, regardless of the amount of blood and blows, showed no signs of giving up. However, this fight was justifiably ruined before the 4th round by the doctor, who did not let Nate continue, regardless of his protest. We were deprived of a spectacular finish, or Diaz's famous activation in the championship rounds, where he puts up the best performances. The two of them got a lot of hate from the fans due to frequent name-calling without action, but let's put this match at UFC 300 with 5 rounds, and we'll see which MMA fans wouldn't want to see a second part of the fight between two durable and tough guys. Not many fighters have taken their conflicts from one sport to another, but Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira are responsible for creating one of the greatest rivalries in combat sports. Both have very successful careers decorated with titles, and tensions have been simmering since the first kickboxing match in China in 2016. After 2 victories over his nemesis in kickboxing, Alex Pereira decided to continue his hunt under MMA rules. 7 years later, we got 2 matches in the UFC octagon where both celebrated with victory, and both times, the middleweight title was on the line. Alex, who has been a thorn in Israel's eyes for years, holds a lead of 3 wins over Adesanya's 1, and in 2023 he managed to do what the New Zealander could not. He defeated Jan Blachowicz and 5 months later knocked out Jiří Procházka to be crowned with the light heavyweight title. Given that each took home $1 million in their last fight and have a combined record of 33 wins and 5 losses, we believe the battle would be a great continuation of an already epic series. Both of them know how to attract an audience, and with their style, we believe many kickboxing fans would be happy to watch the event. We've seen them in kickboxing, we've seen them twice in MMA middleweight, and now it would be time for them to do their match in Pereira's current domain, the light heavyweight. Because who wouldn't watch 2 elite strikers for the 5th time? We don't have to tell you how many views Conor McGregor brings in his appearance, and his rivalry with Nate Diaz was rewarded with Fight of the Night bonuses in both fights. In addition, the UFC had almost 3 million pay-per-view buys from both events combined, and considering that they are even more famous today and managed to stay relevant without active matches, that says a lot. Nate Diaz pulled off an incredible upset in 2016 when McGregor suffered his first defeat in the UFC by submission in the second round. Conor returned half a year later to live up to his name, and after 25 minutes of back-and-forth war, he managed to win by decision. The score has been 1-1 for almost 7 years now, and the fans deserve the resolution of the rivalry they should have gotten long ago. It's time we all get what we want to see, and a third fight between two pay-per-view kings is something everyone would love, and we know it would make Dana White's wallet happy too. It rarely gets as hot as a showdown between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. Their hatred stretches back almost a decade since they were just two skinny featherweights climbing to the top. Conor used his mind games and a killer left hand to win the first bout by knockout, and Dustin came back 6 years later as a much better fighter and returned the favor to the Irishman. The third match, as we all know, ended horribly, and the fans were left with no result, but they got a potential fourth battle with even more bad blood between the two lightweights. The second and third match excelled with 3.2 million pay-per-view buys, and after Conor's post-fight interview, the rivalry gained even more heat and hatred. There is a reason why they call him the Notorious. Dustin Poirier also announced that he wouldn't mind a part 4, as he would be more than happy to fight and get rich again. After all, that is what the Diamond does best. Both guys are capable of delivering a historic fight and are masters at selling it. Good drama and a good scrap. So who's up for another clash between Dustin and Conor? It's not easy to find a name in MMA that has stood convincingly at the top for over 10 years. But the superstar Jon Jones, after successful operations in light heavyweight, decided to become an even bigger star and win the UFC Heavyweight Championship in just 2 minutes after a break of 3 years. He's known for the fact that he wants to prove to be the best in the world. But to make that statement in heavyweight, he should face the man who has the most title defenses in the history of the division and is considered the greatest heavyweight in history, the firefighter Stipe Miočić. This match on the list probably has the best chance of happening, especially since it was scheduled last year, but UFC was forced to postpone it due to Jones's injury. A victory in this legacy fight would shoot the winner to the highest level of MMA success ever seen. If Stipe could defeat Jones, he would be the first man to dethrone him in many years of Jones's undefeated and dominant reign. On the other hand, if Jones were to beat Stipe, there's no doubt that this name would forever remain at the top of the all-time greatest list. This matchup is something a lot of people dream about, and we hope we don't get too old before we finally see it. If we consider that the incredible Tom Aspinall would remain the interim champion, he would get a chance to fight against the winner. So with this development of the situation, we could get another interesting matchup with the title on the line. While Dana White had his reasons, the UFC made a big mistake in letting Francis Ngannou move to a rival organization after his MMA success and recent boxing match against Tyson Fury. The mistake is becoming obvious, especially since there have been rumors for a long time about a potential battle between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, which remained wishful thinking. It could be fixed if the UFC and the PFL would agree on this match. Although the chances are extremely low, there is no doubt that the arenas would be crowded. Money would rain in large quantities, and the fans would never be happier. In one corner, we have the greatest martial artist of all time, who is still sitting on the throne, and in the other one, we have a man capable of extinguishing an ox with his punch. The Predator vs. Bones and heavyweight would solve the MMA riddle of who is the baddest man on the planet. It would be interesting to see how Jones would avoid Francis's artillery in the earlier rounds, and how Ngannou would try to neutralize Jones's high-level wrestling. Dana White certainly made it known that we will be watching this match in our dreams, but hey, one can always dream. Whatever your opinion on the aforementioned matches, we know whose name everyone would like Bruce Buffer to call out in the octagon. Undefeated fighter from Dagestan with 29 wins, Khabib Nurmagomedov. UFC 300 is getting closer, and his name would be more than necessary on that card. Rumors have been circulating for days about his potential return, and as the UFC says, they sent him an offer for 40 mil. Zlatan Ibrahimovic shared a photo with Khabib on his Instagram, where he wrote UFC 300 in the description. The UFC president was also vocal about the possibility of the return of the untouchable Dagestani. but Khabib seems loyal to his word and has repeatedly crushed any hope of his return. And his coach Javier Mendez has done the same. But with today's imagination set free, tell us in the comments if you think Khabib will be back. Who would you like to watch that comeback against? If he would return after all, he would surely shake all pay-per-view records. Khabib would enrich himself and his opponent, and no one could remove the smile from White's face. Thanks for staying until the end, and we hope you enjoyed playing Matchmaker with us. Don't forget to like the video and turn on the notification bell. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments and tell us which matchup you'd like to see. Remember to keep your guard up, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.